Ahoy hoy, I am Planarwalk, and welcome to another open debate where, the topic can be whatever. If you disagree with me on something, then, come on and we'll have a disagreement. Because I find that I actually do hold a few controversial views. At least compared to some people. Some people might call them controversial. Sure hope that... 43 seconds. Alright. Here's a hot take that... Here's the thing. My quote-unquote controversial views that I hold, to some people, they'd go, well, yeah, that's not that controversial. Everyone knows that. And it's like, well, actually, have you seen this group of people? They say that, it's not something we need to consider. Kind of like how everyone would, if I were to say, there's flat earthers, and sometimes it's controversial to say to certain people that the earth is a globe, you'll have most normal people will come along and go, well, everyone knows the earth is a globe. It's not controversial to say that the earth is a globe. Unless, of course, you're in flat earth circles, like Nathan Oakley's channel. You're not allowed to say the earth is a globe up there, because otherwise they'll say that it's a fallacy for you to believe the earth is a globe or something, Here's the hot take, I'll say, that I have, and that is feminism is still needed in Western society. I think a whole lot of people would disagree with me for some reason, And what other hot takes do I have? I think that's mostly it. Another one that is a hot take is Islam deserves to be criticized. That one's another hot take. I can't really think of any other hot takes. But as I said, it's only a hot take in certain contexts. Like, some people will... saying that feminism... I'd say that feminism... Not necessarily in the form that it was in the 50s, where it was about getting legal rights for females, but I think more of advocacy for... or raising awareness of certain problems that females generally have to go through more than men. So that would be things like, because a lot more females are victims of things like sexual abuse and things like that. And I think that's why feminism is still needed, because, You'd think that sexual abuse isn't much of a problem, or as I recently saw a study which was on intimate partner abuse, and holy shit, it was bad. Yeah, I don't actually think that a quota for women should be imposed. I think that it should be things like promoting females in a certain field is okay, as long as, say in IT, females are drastically underrepresented in that. But I think that it's better to do that through breaking down certain social norms. It's a manly job, Another hot take that people think is a hot take is toxic masculinity is definitely a problem. Toxic masculinity is definitely a thing. People misunderstand when people say this sometimes, and I do respect those who go, who provide a bit of nuance to it, who say, toxic masculinity doesn't mean that all masculinity is bad. It just means that there are toxic elements of masculinity. Macho men are fucking dumb, yeah. Yeah, people misunderstand. I feel like that's a lot of disagreements that people actually have with me, right? It's not so much that I'm wrong or that they're necessarily wrong. It's that they just misunderstand my arguments sometimes. I had this argument with a person about capital gains tax, right? And the whole time they were misunderstanding the whole idea that I was trying to put forth, where on your first property, let's call it right now, people are toxic, gender doesn't matter. Well, true, but there are certain elements that people like. So for masculinity, like having to be like strong as a man, and if you're not a strong man, you're considered like a weak, pathetic soy boy. And to be fair, I am a weak, pathetic soy boy, but that's besides the point. I find that, you know, at best, like, well, yeah, the main issue I think is actually the conformity. You know, everyone has to conform to a certain idea of what a man is. You know, you got to be all alpha and masculine, and you got to have muscles. Whereas, you know, or even worse, you got to like certain things. You got to like sports. Like, fuck off. I don't like sports. Yeah, I actually do agree with 82 Productions, and that is another thing. Toxic femininity is also another thing that I've had disagreements with people. And, as I said, certain circles will say that, toxic femininity doesn't exist. And it's a controversial statement to say that it does. And it's like, well, actually, toxic femininity does exist. And the Friendly Antinatalist says, however, the concept of masculinity and feminists are social, I think you mean femininity, are social constructs. They don't really exist. Exactly. I agree with that. I feel like a lot of people in my chat actually agree with me, despite whenever I go anywhere else, what I'm saying is controversial. I don't get it. You know, although I suppose if I were to go to if I were to go to Team Skeptic's stream and say a lot of this, there'd be a lot of people in the chat. A, because it's bigger, and B, he's got a slightly different audience to me. But they would actually disagree with me a bit more, I think. So, you know. But, you know, people have different disagreements about things. Go on, bring up every subject you've wanted to talk about. Let me think. So, one subject that I've wanted to debate with someone, right? However, when I actually so when Bosch went on Modern Day Debate, there was this guy that he went up against, and holy shit, this guy was just bringing up arguments that I've heard before. Now, obviously, Bosch didn't do as good as he could have done, and now there were a couple of points where he did make some good points. I'll agree. I'll give him that, but he didn't do as well as he could have done. He went up against a climate change denier who was basically repeating the exact same points that I've heard and debunked before. So I think that it would be interesting to have a debate with a climate change denier and see if their arguments are literally just, but climate gate. It's like, yeah, what about climate gate? The fact that they don't say what you think they say, and some of the things that they're talking about they publish some of the things that they talked about publishing for the IPCC were already published in a paper beforehand, you know? And the fact that, you know, it was the quote-unquote leaked emails were illegal hacking, you know? Is Pizzagate about Pizza Planet? No, it's did I say Pizzagate or did I say ClimateGate? But anyway, Pizzagate is about a child sex trafficking ring that was supposedly owned by the Democrats, and then it was a conspiracy theory that was pushed out by Alex Jones, and eventually there are so many crazy nut jobs believing this that one person actually went ahead and shot up a... Yeah. 182 says, I wouldn't mind talking to a climate change denier. I have some great first-hand observations that things are changing quickly just within my own lifetime. Yeah, one of the things that I've heard recently is that I think it's the state of... is it Illinois? Let me see. Let me go. US states. I know the rough shape on a map of it. I can't remember. What's this one here? Louisiana. There was an L in it, so I was confused. Yeah, Louisiana. I've heard that state is apparently, it's actually, you look at it on a map, and it's completely different to like the coastlines on a map are different to how it actually looks in reality, due to climate change. Derek Watson, I just watched it on Modern Day Debates, Aaron Ra debating Nathan Thompson, and my, did Nathan fail entirely. Yeah, like I actually liked Aaron Ra's approach of give me a map and we'll discuss it. And I think that was a very good approach. And if a Flat Earther happens to be in the chat that wants to come on and debate me, well, you know. And here's the thing: whenever I say debate, like in context of whatever the topic, if you can, like, what's this title? Yeah, whatever the topic, if you disagree with me, I will debate you on it. Like, it's not going to be a debate, really. It's just going to be a friendly discussion, you know? You want to see a map of Tasmania. Oh, has Tasmania got a lot of Tasmania actual coastline. Coastal erosion report. And this is dpac.tas.gov.au. So, okay, let's have a look at this then. And I'll just bring this up in Firefox. So this, although this looks like, although to be fair, a lot of this looks like could be products of coastal erosion. Let's go project overview. Purposes: coastal landforms have been considered in three. Okay, so talking about different types. This is actually, I'm probably not going to just give a quick skim over. What's some of the... is there a conclusion here? Like, let's read the conclusion. Is there a conclusion? Oh, summary. Here we go. The purpose of this coastal landform... Okay, okay, so it's my... Transil... Oh, you're talking about where Dracula's from. Okay. And, oh yeah, like, Wyoming... The weather has changed quite a bit in the last 15 years. We used to get snow around the end of September. That used to be the first snow, and now it's the end of October, and it doesn't stay. Yeah, I haven't actually... had a decent snow here since... Like, I used to remember... Well, actually, it was about... I remember getting snow, like, all the time. And, like, last snow wasn't last year. Last decent snow wasn't last year, but the year before. I actually remember it, because... I had a funeral... Like, a few days before it... I had to go to a funeral, like, a few days before it started snowing quite a bit. And... essentially... Snow came down, and I was like, "Well, this is the first time in ages that I've gotten a decent snow." And then, it stayed for like a few days, I think. And this year we got some kind of snow, but not really. It was like you could make like snowballs-ish out of it and throw it at people, but it wasn't like anything that you'd really go, "Oh." There's not anything that you'd be like, "Oh, hell yeah, like, let's go to the park and make a snowman." Like, you're not going to be able to snow in the Sahara. Oh, jeez. Although I do know, although it sounds funny that it snowed in Sahara, I do know that Utah, I think, in the States is basically a desert and they get snow there. So it's... Geography... It's geography. And, like, geological things are weird. Or meteorology and geography, you made a snowman from hail. Yeah, there wasn't a... Like, here's the thing. You could get, like, a... there was a... Because some of it was hail, but you could make, like, a snowball and throw it at people. There just wasn't enough snow at all to make a snowman. At least, you could probably make like a small snowman. Like a little miniature snowman. But you're not going to be able to make like a huge snowman. I only had 3 days of snowing here during the winter. The mountains, yeah, like here I always remember that it was always one major snow a year. That was generally the rule, right? And one year I got 2. I think it was... Yeah, because... trying to remember... Yeah, there was the icing on the quake. That was literally what it was called. And then I think there was a snow later that year. So that would have been 2011. Yeah, 2011, I think. Snowman is a thing and Hailman isn't. Yeah. But also, I actually also remember that. Well, I actually missed the snow when it came to the icing on the quake. The reason being is because it's so... I was basically... Utah's desert valley in the... Oh, yeah. Like, I remember I was so tired, right? Because it was school holidays. Now, here's the thing. School holidays... they are basically to give people a bit of a break between when they... basically, they're used to give students a break because as you're young, student life is tiring. So they give basically a 2-week break, allowing you to recharge. For the 2 weeks that I was on break, I was working, and by God, I hated it. Like, sure, yeah, I got a bit of extra money from it, but I hated it because essentially it was getting up at 6 a.m. So before I'd normally get up for school, I think it was a 7. Did I start at 7 or 8 or 9? Pretty sure I started at 7 and went till 3. Would you be interested in starting regular debating about really important topics with multiple intelligent people? Yeah, like I'd definitely be up to debating people. Like, sometimes I feel like there are people that I'd agree with. Like, I think that I don't think that me and Vosh would have much to disagree with or to disagree about. We might disagree about whether communism is actually viable, especially in the United States. But when it comes to him, like, we would definitely agree that the Earth is not flat. Would definitely agree that climate change is an issue. Yeah, I actually agree with you, Lars Hahn. Usually, I think, like, when I see your name, it's like it looks like Anne, because the R kind of looks like an N. Another SpaceX launch in a few hours. Oh, hell yeah. Like, I've been wanting one of them because as soon as there's a SpaceX launch, you know what the flat earthers do, right? They just come out in droves and be like, yo, I'll probably... I think that Chris from CC will probably make another video about it. And I'll probably go ahead and be like... I'll probably just go ahead and be like, okay, let's make a video on this person. People carrier too. Oh, nice. That's definitely going to be something that I bet there'll be at least one flat earther that will talk about it, right? And when they do, I will be there. What is my view on vaccines and abortion? Get vaccinated. In fact, I need to get a vaccine. HPV vaccine to reduce the risk of cancer. Abortion, not the best, as I've always maintained, it's not the best form of contraception, if you want to call it contraception, but it should be available. Because firstly, you can head down some really, really bad roads if you take it to its extent. Like, here's the thing, I do think that it's a bad idea, and to drink alcohol, right, when you're pregnant, right? So I think that it's a bad idea. Like, I think that possibly even if you are pregnant and you intend to have a kid and you are drinking alcohol because of, I think it's fetal alcohol syndrome, it should be, you should be able to be fined for neglect if you are drinking enough alcohol to deform the baby when you're pregnant, right? Now, when it comes to... Now, because of that, when it comes to, let's say, a particular diet that you have, when you are unknowingly pregnant, that raises your chance of a miscarriage. Now, as I said, I think that if you are drinking alcohol when you're pregnant and it's enough to possibly result in alcohol fetal alcohol syndrome, then you should be like maybe fined or something. I'm not exactly sure what the punishment should be, but that is a form of neglect, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to abortion, let's say that a woman has a miscarriage because they have a diet which actually, let's say, doubles the chance of a miscarriage. Should it be allowed? Or should it be? Should that be allowed? If not, then you run into some very serious issues. Or, now, one of the things is, what's the difference between raising the chance of, from, let's say, or I mean, I know there's a difference, but there's a chance. Let's say you raise the chance from, let's say, 50% to 99% to have a miscarriage. Now, I don't see an issue with that if, of course, you don't ascribe any life or any sort of value to a fetus that hasn't developed yet to the point where it's viable outside of the womb. If you do, then you will find an issue. And to that I say, okay, let's say that you're raising the chance of having a miscarriage from, let's say, 25% to 50% by virtue of diet. Should that be illegal? If so, then we get into some very sticky territories about controlling what women can and can't have in their diet, just through virtue of the fact that they could be pregnant. But of course, if they're not sexually active, then you have whatever you want in your diet. And are we going to inspect every period to see if they're actually having a miscarriage? Because some, as I said, like some girls don't know that they're having a miscarriage, and it just seems like a heavy period to them. So when it comes to abortion, right? You're just raising that chance from 50% of having a miscarriage to 99%, or I don't know what the actual stats are, and could be 99.9%. I know that's not 100% because there are always, it could always fail, right? And it's pretty much the same as just changing your diet. Like, surely it's diet for a day, but So that's my that is my view on abortion. Okay, what's people in comments saying about? Did you see the pastor in Borat too? Not even doing anything towards what he believed was a 15-year-old girl that got pregnant by her dad. Some pro-lifers are horrible. Yeah, I agree that some pro-lifers are horrible. Now here's the thing. I have a good one-person balanced argument re-abortion. Is it for abortion? Like, are you saying about my argument? Now, and I actually do agree with Max Mack. Maybe there should be, he says, maybe there should be time limits, but the debate should be driven by women. And I agree with the debate should be driven by women because, now, unfortunately, it is generally males making the rules, right? And here's the thing, like, males obviously don't get pregnant, so they don't have to, they can make laws saying, oh, yeah, you've got to get, if you get pregnant, it's your problem, but you're not allowed an abortion. And and they're the one making the rules. Now, to be fair, on the other side of the camp, the women that say, well, I should be allowed to do what I want with my body, they actually do sometimes make the rules, right? It's a 50-ish split. Now, I don't actually know the... I don't actually know... Well, I'm saying 50-ish split when it comes to people on the pro-abortion side of the camp that make the rules. Because, if you look at Republicans, it's mostly white males, right? Oh yeah, definitely. Pro-lifers don't often care about the children once they're born. If having a child, if you knew that a child was going to be taken care of once you had it, then abortion wouldn't be something that a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, I've got to get an abortion. In fact, some people, you've actually probably raised the birth rate a little bit, But, a lot of people just, if they were to get pregnant, they'd just be like, I don't have the financial security to be able to take care of a child. No side in what I said. You argued both views. And how did I argue both views? I thought I argued my view. But yeah, my opinion is basically it should be allowed, right? And because of simply you get into very very bad areas. Have you heard the American politician that thought women couldn't get pregnant from rape? What? You've got to be joking. You have to be joking. Kids should have the right of being raised in a viable environment. Abortions definitely help preventing. Yeah, I actually do agree with that. I think that you can also have a discussion about suffering, right? If you know that the kids are going to be raised in an environment where they're going to be, they've got, they're going to be starving or something. I don't think that it's necessarily, I don't necessarily think that it's a moral good to carry the child to term, right? Sadly, no, that's not a joke, idiots. Oh yeah, there was... here's the thing, there's one dumb fuck that I heard about, right? That he may, anyone that actually thinks that his argument... he basically had... It wasn't so much an argument, it was a law against abortion. And it was quite clearly a law to stop abortion. Dude, you're getting messages in full caps? I don't know who's sending me messages in full caps. But yeah, it was a law against abortion. It was quite clearly one to try and shut down abortion. And it was if the woman knew she was pregnant, she was not allowed to get an abortion. Okay, let's take a look. But if you know you're pregnant, that's when you're going to get an abortion, right? Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Obviously, there's... Hold on. Let me... Hold up. Shit, let's click on the thing, because obviously I'm not seeing the I'm not seeing the messages in caps lock. Whose caps lock is broken? Top chat, live chat. No, I'm not seeing anyone whose caps lock is broken. Who said that? Who said that? Wait, who? Wait, let me go to... Okay, Lars says, I mean, in the live stream I see the message. Oh, okay. Okay. I understand now. So,
on abortion, you've been pro-life your entire career.
Yeah.
You've been very staunchly pro-life.
Yeah.
Are there any circumstances in your mind in which an abortion should be legal?
Well, I think sometimes people talk about life of the mother as a situation, Charles, and in my sense is that one of the foundational things America is built on is a respect for life. And so I would say you optimize life. So for instance, a woman has a tubal pregnancy or something. Well, technically, by my understanding, life begins at conception. So you've technically had conception, but the child doesn't have a chance and will soon kill the mother. Okay, so I would say in those kinds of situations, you try to optimize life. But, you know...
So, I'd say that when it comes to that particular thing, you know, if there is a case where the mother is at risk, and an abortion can save the mother, then, or I should actually be using the word woman in this case, because, I mean, technically not a mother yet, right? I'd say, you know, abort. If it poses risk to the woman, abort the fetus, right? I suppose, let me rephrase it. If it poses significant risk to the woman, abort the fetus. Another pro-abortion argument. Would it be okay for me to hook myself up to your body to survive without your consent? Pro-lifers will not say yes to that unless it's a pregnancy, yeah. Because what they'll say is now, two things, right? Rape should always... Oh yeah, agreed, Max Mac. So rape should always, no matter what side you're on, allow for abortion. Like, even if you're on the pro-life side, rape should always allow for abortion, because you don't get you do not have you have not given consent in that case, right? So, men against an abortion should get a vasectomy. Problem solved. Yeah. I have heard people say that rape shouldn't give cases for abortions, but I think that no matter what side you're on, it should. Second thing, get face protection. I need some gloves for that. Second thing is people might say, okay, but you choose to have sex and you choose to you choose to have sex, and when having sex there is always the risk of getting pregnant. Okay, yes, there is the risk of getting pregnant, but if you are using contraception, and I always think that you should be using contraception, then that risk goes from a fairly high risk to barely there at all. Now, there is still a risk, but I don't see why people using contraception, and especially if you're using contraception safely, I don't see why people using contraception should have to go ahead and have a child when they didn't want one. You know? Like, if you don't want a child, and you have, especially if you've been using contraception, like, if you've been using now, I do understand that some people maybe don't use some people maybe don't use contraception because they don't like it, you know, maybe they don't like condoms, and maybe they don't like the woman doesn't like getting stabbed with a needle, right? And getting vaccinated against kids, you know. But you know, that is something that in the case of if you're using contraception, you should be allowed an abortion. Definitely. Absolutely. No question about it. Now, I would argue that even if you're not using contraception, you should be allowed to get an abortion just because of other reasons that I've mentioned earlier. But in either case, it is here's something. Whose problem is it if you get a STD? Right? Now, when you hook up with someone. Now, let's say you're using protection. Is it your problem for having sex with someone? Let's say you had sex with someone that you don't know and you got an STD. Would you be responsible for that, for getting that STD? Now, some people would say yes, you are, because you had sex with someone you didn't know, they happened to carry an STD, and you caught that STD. But I'd argue that no, you're not responsible, because let's say you used a condom. If you used a condom, chances of getting STD go down from let's say 20% to maybe 0.5%. There's still that risk there of getting STD if you used a condom. And you don't know that someone you don't necessarily know that someone has an STD when you have sex with them. So, you know. Remember the case in the US a few years back. A woman was in an accident, pronounced brain dead, had signed a DNR, but was not allowed to die because she was pregnant. The fuck? That's fucked up. Anyway, let's continue watching this.
My case in this, Charles, has been, even if you sort of separate a little of the whole abortion question out, one of the things that I love about this country is the fact that Americans do consider life really important. And it's not because of some theoretical thing that you're on a talk show.
Okay. Americans consider life really important, except when it's immigrants. Or, no, not except when it's foreigners. Not just immigrants, but foreigners. If you're not American, your life doesn't matter shit to Americans. At least about 50% of Americans. You remember all the wars that you've gotten involved in over there, buddy? Like they'll drop refugees. They'll drop bombs on any lot of people as long as it's not Americans. Anyone drops bombs on Americans, they'll bomb the shit out of you. They'll bomb the shit out of your entire country if you drop one bomb on their country. Oh yeah, and if you considered life important, we wouldn't have for-profit healthcare. Exactly.
When somebody asks you about it, but you have September 11th, and you've got these guys that are running into a building that's about to collapse. They find...
Yeah, you got September 11th, and you're so pro-life that after September 11th, you decide to bomb the shit out of Iraq. So, congratulations, America, at being the biggest group of oxymorons. And yes, they're not just morons, they're oxymorons.
Somebody in a wheelchair, they never check their ID or anything like that, or whether they're important. They grab them and they get them to safety, and they run back and get another one. Same kind of thing that we saw. Wait. Footage. You know.
Wait, the ID. This motherfucker just mention ID?
Building that's about to collapse. They find somebody in a wheelchair. They never check their ID.
Yeah, don't check your ID unless you're coming through customs, right? Unless you're trying to immigrate into America because of fear for your life, right?
Or anything like that, or whether they're important, they grab them and they get them to safety and they run back and get another one. Same kind of thing that we saw. Ollie North had some footage. You know, he's been right up in the front with cameras taking footage. This is over in Iraq, and there's a Marine big guy, and he's
For fuck's sake, like this guy here. Oh, jeez. Like, if Americans were so pro-life in Iraq, the fuck they go into... What the fuck they start a war with Iraq for? Oh, God. This is... I'm trying to finish the video, but holy shit.
He's got this guy who's wounded over his shoulder, and he's running. The bullets are flying around, and there's a cameraman in a safe position saying, "Hey, that guy that the guy's fatigues are just up, and you can see this is an Iraqi citizen. This isn't a U.S. soldier." He says, "Hey, that's an Iraqi citizen. Why are you risking your life there?" And this Marine turns around and he looks straight into that guy's camera and he said, "Because that's what we do." And that spirit in America, I think, is so important for us.
Oh, I'm trying to finish it, but I see so many stupids.
Okay, so if an abortion could be considered in a case of, say, a tubal pregnancy or something like that, what about in the case of rape? Should it be legal or not?
Well, you know, people
Okay,
always want to try and make that as one of those things. Well, how do you slice this particularly tough sort of ethical question? It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down. But let's assume that maybe that didn't work or something. You know, I think there should be some punishment, but the punishment ought to be on the rapist and not attacking the child.
Okay, so the female body, yeah, so he did actually say that the female body had ways to shut a rape down? Yeah, and that was another thing, a legitimate rape. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's some what the fuck material there. He got slammed because of that comment? Yeah, I bet. Because, like, first of all, like, when someone gets raped, like, it is, like, it's legitimately rape, isn't it? Like, what's he trying to insinuate there? Yeah, never let old guys decide the abortion question. I do have to say, you know, the whole thing about Marine saving an Iraqi citizen, because that's what we do, you know. To me, that sounds like, okay, why are you in Iraq in the first place? Why are you bombing Iraq in the first place? Why did you start a war with Iraq in the first place? It's magical thinking like religion. Yeah. I see the video got ratioed pretty well. Oh, yep. And then there's people pointing out things like, yep, America was founded on respect for life. I guess all those Native Americans killed and enslaved Africans during the colonial period. Wait. How do you feel about abortion? 9/11. Give this guy a break. He's so old that when he was a teenager, the Bible was in the new releases section at Barnes and Noble. So of course he's not going to understand science. He's just now getting used to the idea that electricity isn't witchcraft. Okay. Yeah, it was definitely something to tune into. So, yeah. That was something that apparently apparently happened. Oh, let's talk about the entitled passengers in the airplanes. I don't know what you're talking about there, but, you know. I feel like I had some other controversial things that I could say, but I can't remember them right now. Like, yeah, because abortion is definitely something controversial that I have opinions on. Like, here's the thing: it probably should be like when it comes to the whole abortion debate, like it should primarily be debated by women. I think. Unfortunately, as I said, on the pro-life side, they're generally not the ones making the laws. And here's one of the things that I found. A lot of pro-life propaganda, we'll call it, a lot of pro-life propaganda is aimed towards women. Because they're the ones that do decide whether to get an abortion. If you manage to, if you manage to convince women that they need to have children when they get pregnant, that they need to carry that through, then you have just stopped abortion. If you manage to convince a woman, the thing is that because the male doesn't get to decide whether they have an abortion, so it's on the woman, So that's why a lot of it is aimed towards women. Okay, lawsuits over... What you're talking about is called pronatalism. Okay. What's this? Lawsuits over brain... Oh, and a lot of it is also scaremongering, right? Like, let me make that clear. Like, a lot of the arguments they're not made in rational discourse, right? They're made in fucking in the idea that abortions are some scary thing, and if you get an abortion, you may not be able to get pregnant again, and that would be bad because you want to be a mother. Pronatalism. Yeah, green close. Holy shit, that's a big hit. Because, that seems to be what a lot of the arguments are made over. It's not made over, is a fetus worth protecting? And what are the actual facts? What is an abortion actually, right? Because what is an abortion actually? Like, does anybody know? Pop quiz time. What, and this helps if you've been paying attention in chat, what is an abortion? What is the abortion procedure? I'm going to go through this argument, and then I'm going to go through this article, and then I'm going to see what your answers are right there in chat. Like, start it with @Planarwalk as well, because that would help. Okay, abortion is the termination of. So I want to be like more specific. Like, what is the general abortion procedure? Start with @Planarwalk. Like, what is the main one? What is one of the main ones? A series of lawsuits go ahead and with where a clinically brain dead woman was kept alive against her family's wishes. Personal injury actions were taken by the woman's father, brother, and daughter, have all been set for trial in High Court. The cases relate to a decision by medical staff at Beaumont Hospital to refuse to switch off the life support for a 26-year-old known as Miss P because her unborn baby still had a heartbeat. The objection sprung from fear that to do so would be in breach of the 8th Amendment since repealed. For fuck's sakes. Which gave equal status to rights of mothers and the unborn. The woman was kept on life support for several weeks. The matter was only resolved after her father went to High Courts. Yeah, I do need to ad block. Okay, so Really? Alright, so 36 is abortion as termination. Either has the termination of a pregnancy, which can have multiple different procedures, either chemically induced through a pill, which would induce miscarriage. There's also surgical abortions where a device is inserted into the womb and the zygote, embryo, fetus, whatever stage it is, that is essentially sucked out. An abortion in the early stages is dilation and curettage. Basically, a dust and clean nurse's terminology. So generally, I noticed yours, D. Kane. So generally, when it comes to abortion should be done as fast as possible. But generally, when it comes to scaremongering about abortion, it's generally, they suck the fetus out, or they use these you see all the time, and it's like they use these tweezers to get the fetus out, and that's what they paint an abortion as. Now, that's not rational discourse. That's scaremongering, right? If you want rational discourse about an abortion, you would argue, okay, what are the facts of an abortion? Now, sometimes it is just simply going ahead and giving them a few drugs, inducing a miscarriage. Now, sometimes it is surgical, but for the most part, I'd say that it's probably, just inducing a miscarriage, right? Now, I'd need to get the actual stats, of course. But, if you're trying to have a rational conversation if you're trying to start rational discourse, and that's what a lot of these pro-life people say. That just they'll claim that they're trying to open the dialogue up, right? They're not. That's not what they're doing. What they're trying to do is they're trying to scare people into most abortions are medical, which is inducing a miscarriage hormonally. Yep. So I was right on that. If you're trying to have a rational discussion, you would not take the minority of abortions and paint that as all abortions. If you're trying to have a rational discussion, you would say, okay, is a fetus worth protecting? And I say no. You can arrive at that through different means of thought. Now, you could also say, well, maybe a fetus is worth protecting, but is to what extent is it worth protecting? And that's where one of my arguments for abortion that I mentioned earlier comes into play, because if a fetus is worth protecting, is it worth protecting one that without intervention would actually end up being miscarried by natural means because of, maybe the woman is doing something that causes the fetus to be miscarried or raises the chance, right? If that is the case, then that's scary. Should we regulate what women eat? No. That is nothing. That should not be on the table at all. One person says, but is the fetus worth protecting more than protecting the mother? And I know someone that actually thinks that the fetus is worth protecting more than the mother. I know people that that legitimately think that. And that's when it gets to the state. That's when it gets to what do humans actually value? Because when you think about it, what do we actually value? Do we value just the existence of life? Sometimes yes, but generally we don't. You know, as pointed out as I pointed out when it came to this guy, yeah, people can be. Fair enough, 82. Would it be wrong to say that it depends on the mother? I mean, if the mother is some people, you probably don't necessarily want the mother to live. Like, if it's Hitler, if it's, like, let's say it's Hitler's brother, you know, Hitler's younger brother could have been a miscarriage, and it's some other that would go on to have Hitler, maybe. Or if it's in... There's definitely some moral ambiguity when it comes to anti-vax mothers. Definitely. But anyway. But when it came to this guy here, let's just...
Ever check their ID?
When it came to this guy, right? You know, he says that most Americans are pro-life. But when it comes to being pro-life, you should value all life equally, right? At least all human life. Most people that are pro-life don't give a shit about animal life, unless it's a pet, you know. But that aside, you know, they'll gladly drop bombs on people that they don't know. You know, they'll gladly drop bombs on people they don't know. But if these people that they don't know dare drop bombs on them, then that's horrible. No matter, now I'm not defending 9/11 here. I'm not defending 9/11. But, you know, when it comes to Al-Qaeda, that was in response to something that America did. When Al-Qaeda did 9/11. However, like, people don't give a shit about that because most people don't give a shit about that because they were terrorists. You know, they're terrorists. And because they're in America, American can do no wrong. And you see this with every country as well. Like, they don't put any culpability on their own country because it's always the fault of the other. The people that they don't know. And the people that, quote unquote, deserve to have bombs dropped on them. That's 11-9, yeah. True. And DSD Kane says, do generalize much? Yeah, I suppose I am generalizing a bit, but, you know. 9/11 will be 20 years ago next year. Yeah. Jeez. How old was I when 9/11 happened? I was 5. It only takes 2 to tango is rather fitting for me. Yes! That's it. Like, it takes 2 to tango. Like, yeah, if Al-Qaeda didn't exist, then obviously 9/11 wouldn't have happened. Right? Well, or if there was, you know, if any of the terrorists that did 9/11 didn't really have an organization that they rallied around, then, yeah, 9/11 wouldn't have happened. However, also, if there wasn't US interference, then also 9/11 wouldn't have happened. So, you know, takes 2 to tango. September, wasn't a month we wouldn't have September 11th. True. there was only 8 months in a year, then you wouldn't have 9/11 either. Because, you wouldn't have been able to get to either of 9/11, 9 or 11. America will turn. Hold up, maybe America would say, okay, the 91st day of of the first month, and just have one long month. That'd be America for you. It'd find a way. Well, the first of the 91st year. Yeah, I was 5 in 2001. Are you surprised? Oh, I was born in 1996. Oh, technically, I would have actually been 4 during 9/11. You know, 5-day week. That'd be interesting. Although it would make years rather bland, I think. Years kind of become I actually used to think that we should have 5 days weeks, but then I realized that it's good having things on different days. Having. Oh, jeez, I'm tired. But I used to be for like a 5-day week, but then I realized that if we had a 5-day week, your birthday would fall on the same day every year, unless depending on how you work the leap years, of course. Like if you decide to change it every leap year, then okay, it would eventually change, and you'd have to be waiting like 20 years. So you'd be waiting like 4 years for your birthday to change day, right? Whereas with the current system, sometimes it falls on a weekend, sometimes it falls. Like here's the thing. I have after this, I've got a birthday to attend to. If it was every year that their birthday was on the same day, then their birthday would essentially keep on falling on possibly an awkward day, right? Because on the day that I stream and all that. So I think that's good. I think that 7-day weeks are good. And I'm36 is completely off topic, but have you looked into the Space Nation Asgard? They have made a new calendar and it's pretty good. Okay, let's Space Nation. Is it Asgardia? Asgardia, the Space Nation. I think that's what it is. Let me grab this. As long as I make sure that I'm just gonna make sure that it's not porn. It doesn't look like porn. Okay, cool. Disappointed maybe. Just kidding. Obviously, I'm not disappointed. Space comma. Yeah, they're probably. I wonder if they have any space commas. Maybe they supply space commas. Okay, what are their calendars? Okay. This is interesting. I can become an Asgardian, or resident, or a politician. Okay, I need to find their calendar. Where's their calendar? Well, maybe it's on the menu. What's on the menu? That's very interesting. I'll have to look into that. Asgardia. Okay. Well, let's go to New Zealand. Hopefully it doesn't... Oh, it has a lot of dots. Is there any dots in New Zealand? Hold on, it had a... Okay, I was about to say, why is there a dot in... I was going to say, why is there a dot in fucking Christchurch? Like, I understand Christchurch, and... What? Dot in Auckland disappeared, what the fuck? Okay. Okay. Okay, there's multiple in New Zealand. Okay, that makes more sense. I was about to say, I was about to ask why there was a dot... Okay. It's making even more sense. One of those dots in Wellington is you. Yeah, it is. I was about to ask why there was like one in Christchurch and one in like... It's not Invercargill, that's Gore or something. And like Christchurch does make sense. And I was about to ask, why is there none anywhere? Like, I was about to ask why there'd be none in Wellington. But it turns out that is one in Wellington, one in Queenstown as well. And one in Nelson. South Island is really like a lot of nothingness, isn't it? Even in Timaru, there's like none. Or Oamaru. Why was my phone going off? What is going on? Oh, I've got like mail. What am I getting mailed out? Probably yeah, just like Reddit and stuff. Okay. Oh, it's saying important. Someone's saying important information about scams targeting New Zealanders online. Well, let's see if this is a scam. Like, oh, okay. Give me the seek.co.nz. It seems like it could be legitimate. Okay, yes. If you suspect you've been targeted by scammers, please visit the Consumer Protection website. Okay, yeah, this is legit. I didn't realize Australia was so big and far away. Are you meaning from New Zealand? Oh, and there's like a lot of people over here, like they've been completely. Oh, what the? Oh, this place was completely consumed by circles. But yeah, so, oh, there we go. Asgardian calendar. Okay, so we've got Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus. Okay. We're on the 13th of Sagittarius. Am I? Yes, I am. Now, here's what we need to do. Oh, and they also make... For fuck's sakes, why do people have an obsession with making all the dates fall in the same? Oh, we've got 13 months as well. Well, I actually do agree that we should have 13 months. I actually just clicked on the calendar, in case you didn't see that. I actually do agree that we should have 13 months, right? 13 months would be best. Actually, here's what we should do. 13 months in a year, right? Each month has 28 days, except for the last month. Last month has 2 extra days. Oh, well, no. Depending on whether it's a leap year. Like, on a leap year, it will have 2 extra days. On a non-leap year, it would have 1 extra day. So, last month has an extra day. This extra day is to allow the years to cycle around so that things fall on different days. Right? So sometimes it might fall on a weekend, for example. This would be the best system, I think. Okay, so we've got the initial sort of thing of how it is up here, and then they've got the way that they want to make it. So Wednesday would be, I don't get the Wednesday would be the first, but yeah, I suppose. But yeah, that would be my. Why am I so tired? I didn't sleep well last night. Okay, so it says as Guardian. Oh, so they'd have. Oh wait, no, it's not. Why did I think that it was Friday? Jeez, I'm really out of it. As I said, didn't sleep well last night. It was too hot to have a good sleep. Essentially, it's been really warming up lately. So so I don't get 00 I don't get 0004. 0004. Yeah, I said it right. Is that like the year it is? The only thing you don't like about that calendar is the week and year starts on Sunday. I can understand that, actually. If you want the last day of the let's say you want the last day of the year to be a holiday, or to be like a weekend. You want the last day of the year to be a weekend, and you want the first day of the year to be a weekend, or even each month. And yeah, then you have last day of each month is it's a weekend, which most people have off, and I didn't want to do that. Let's reload this. So yeah, if you want the last day of the each month to be a weekend, the first day of the month to be a weekend, which most people will have off, then you set it up so that Saturday is the last day of each month, and Sunday is the first day of each month. Now, I just fundamentally don't disagree. I just fundamentally don't agree with the way that it's set up, because sometimes I want my birthday to fall on a weekend. Sometimes people might want theirs to fall on a weekday. Sometimes people might want theirs to fall on a day that they're not working. How's Jacinda doing? What do you think of her policies so far? I haven't actually checked what she's been doing recently. I do know that I don't disagree. I do know that I disagree with her on something. Like, I am disappointed. Like, she's going really centrist. She's going the centrist route, like hardcore centrist route, and so that does mean that it's going to be difficult to pass any policies that I would want. Like, she's basically said, I don't know what the new month will be called. She's basically said that there's going to be no capital gains tax whilst she's Prime Minister, and there's going to be no wealth tax. Now, I'm not too sure on what the wealth. She's neutral like Switzerland. Yeah. Now, the whole point of politics is to get good change. I do not like here. Okay. Here's why I don't like conservatism. Alright, you ready for a hot take? Here's why I don't like conservatism. And why I think conservatism is bad. Conservatism doesn't adapt to change. We are living in a changing world, right? Conservatism is basically tradition, right? Tradition is basically this idea that it worked well in the past, so we should keep with it and keep it working well. That's my charitable explanation. If you want me to go into a less charitable explanation of conservatism, then yeah, you're in for an earful. But that's assuming that tradition is peer pressure from dead people. True. So, you know. However, the problem with conservatism is that it means that you don't get a lot of change, right? You don't get a lot of adaptation, and that's why America is so fucked right now with in regards to healthcare. Because when it comes to healthcare over there, like, it's this idea that, oh, the capitalist model, it's worked well for ages, so let's just keep with it, you know? And to be fair, it is one of them things where it's like, here's the problem with a lot of people's ideas on politics, right? Like, things have been so fucked that people say, oh, it's too late to change it, right? Like, someone says look in the chat. What chat are they talking about? I don't know. But yeah, like, things have gotten so fucked in different areas that people say that it's too late to change it. But the reason why it's so fucked is because it hasn't been changed, right? Like, when it comes to, let's say, let's give an example. Healthcare, right? Because healthcare in America, the reason why that's so fucked is because there's been no meaningful policies passed to change it from private to public, right? Because if you want to get, if you're insured, then things work well for you. But they're basically trying to fuck you in the ass with it by making you pay huge amounts. However, when it comes to if they were to, basically, I think it's make it public or have a public option, then you'd essentially have a if they were to make a public option, then you'd essentially be able to stop hospitals from jacking up their prices so much, right, and making it expensive. However, because it's taking so long to get round to that, you've got them jacking up prices, making it seem more and more untenable as time goes on. The exact same is true for the housing market in New Zealand. The idea of the housing market, one of the ideas that they're going with, like, a lot of people say capital gains tax would be bad. And the reason why they say capital gains tax would be bad is because, people might want to invest into a property as a, let's say, as a retirement fund, right? And it's like, okay, yeah, you're investing into a property as a retirement fund, but at what cost? It's not going to cost you anything, but it's, for me, I can't afford to buy a property for a retirement fund. Now, to be fair, like, even if properties were affordable, I probably wouldn't be able to invest into a property as a retirement fund. A lot of people my age can't invest into a property as a retirement fund because they just don't have their money. Because and properties are so damn expensive in New Zealand. Like, fucking $1 million just for a standard house. Like, fuck off. Like, it's much cheaper to rent. Now, some people are lucky, especially if you live in a small town. You can probably get a cheap property. Now, here's the thing: cheap property in New Zealand, about 200 grand. You know, that's a cheap property in New Zealand. It's 200 grand. People just don't have the money to invest into a. People just don't have the money to invest into properties. So yeah, property tax here is quite high. Here's the thing. I think that it's. Can you look in? Here's the thing, Glass Monster. Hold up. I'm just gonna make this clear. Like, I do want to debate someone. Like, if you have a disagreement with me, here's the thing. I will drag you in. You've got to state what you disagree with me about, and we'll debate about that. If not, then I'm gonna put you back out because I do want to debate with someone. Someone that disagrees with me. So here we go. All right. So, ahoy hoy.
Someone that disagrees with me. Here we go.
Bull.
Look in the chat, can you drag me in there with you?
Hey, I forgot that I had this.
Blowing up.
Oh,
So feeding back.
what's that?
I just walked through the door and I seen you were debating. I'm trying to figure out what you want me to disagree with you on. I'm sure there's something.
Okay, so have I?
I literally just got home.
What have I said that I disagree? That you might disagree with me on? Like, I've said a lot of things today that people might disagree with me on. Whether it comes to things like I've forgotten half the subjects. Like, there's topics. I know we agree on things like weed, right, being legal. So,
Yeah.
so I've made statements about abortion should be available for anyone that wants it. I've made statements.
To a degree.
Okay, what?
Not an absolute blanket.
Okay, in which cases shouldn't it be available?
If it is, say, you got a married couple and they just decide, nah, it was whoops, they made a mistake accidentally and did it. No.
I disagree with you. I think that even if you're a married couple, that it should be available. Because let's take an example of a married. Let's say that there's a married couple, and they let's say that they use contraception, right? And then they get pregnant and they don't have the money to be able to support a child. I think that in that case, abortion for them should be available.
As long as they can prove that they were actually trying, maybe. I'll give you. If they can prove it, that they were attempting to avoid it. But if it was free jackets off, no. Because they were just tempting fate at that point.
I also think that when it comes to abortion, how about I run through the argument that I had earlier? Yeah. Do you think that a pregnant woman drinking, do you think that if a pregnant woman is drinking and causes fetal alcohol syndrome, that she should be charged for neglect?
Yes.
Okay, we agree there.
I think she should be responsible for that.
Okay, now second thing. Let's say that a woman gets pregnant and she doesn't know, and has a diet which raises the chance of a miscarriage. Let's say that a miscarriage in general is about 25%, and her diet raises it to, let's say, 50 or even 60%. Do you think that she should be charged if she has a miscarriage?
Well, if it's a case of absolutely not knowing, that would be a tough one, but I would say it'd be difficult to really charge her if she truly did not know. But how would you be able to prove that she knew? That would be the catch. Because you really be her word.
Yeah. Because here's the thing: when it comes to miscarriages, there are certain diets, right, that raises the chance of a miscarriage. There's also many miscarriages are unknown. Now, it could be that a woman gets pregnant, right? She knows she's pregnant because she's tested positive for it. For pregnancy. I just need to clarify there because testing positive these days. Yeah. Anyway, if she might test positive and continue on with a diet that she might not know raises the chances of a miscarriage. Or she might know that it raises the chances of a miscarriage, but because she doesn't, because she, let's say you've made abortions illegal, she goes ahead with eating something that raises the chances of a miscarriage in order to try and avoid pregnancy or something, you know. So, do you think that in that case, in any of those cases, that she should be charged for causing the death of a fetus?
Well, if she knew that she was pregnant, actually knew she was pregnant, there should be some investigation put into it. You know, I mean, it wouldn't be black and white. You know, I mean, I don't work like the religious, so it wouldn't be black and white. You'd have to investigate and see
because
if she was doing anything at all to try to avoid a problem.
Because I don't think that if a miscarriage is caused by, whether it be by diet, whether it be by an accident, I don't think that there should be charges. There are some cases where let's say someone was, let's say a woman was punched in the gut and it causes a miscarriage. Okay, then the person should be charged, but more so for
the
violence.
One who did the assaulter should be the one that is charged.
Yeah, but more so for violence rather than
right.
Miscarriage. And possibly even if the woman knew that she was pregnant and wanted to go through with the pregnancy, then he should also be charged. Because there would be I think there'd possibly be a way of actually writing it into a law where it's not classified as an abortion. Because I don't necessarily, like, it's, you know, like kicking a puppy dog and killing it kind of thing. You should be able to be charged for that. But what I'm getting to here is essentially when it comes to having an abortion, a lot of abortions are just simply raising the chance of having a miscarriage. And so, you know, I don't see why, if you think that it's okay for people to raise the chances of having a miscarriage through maybe diet or something, then it should be okay to raise the chances of having a miscarriage. And I say raise the chances of having a miscarriage simply because if you have, if you have 100% chances of, 100% chances of something is never happening, right? You're just raising it up to 99% or something. And I don't. And I don't think that that should be legislated against. I think that should be fully an option for anyone that wants it. So, do you have any disagreements with that, or?
That's quite complicated.
It is a complex subject.
Yes, it is.
And I've thought about it a lot, so...
that's not discussing flat Earth. That's a complex, actual, proper subject.
Yeah. Oh, Man Devil says, what about the morning after pill? That's basically abortion.
Well, you're not. You're taking it right after conception, so yeah, that's as far as I'm concerned, that'd be fine. No problem there. Is if the thing is like 8 months away from, in, or 6 months, or even 7 months in. I mean, you got a complete kid there, pretty much.
Yeah, like when it comes to, I am very.
So it all depends on when it happens, I guess. Really, one of the things.
Yeah, I am actually very iffy about third trimester abortions, just simply because. Just simply because.
By then, it's nearly viable.
Yeah, at that time, you've already carried it for however, I think it's after 6 months, it's third trimester. You've already carried it around for 6 months. And if there is a problem with pregnancy, if there is a potential problem that could end up complicating the pregnancy and causing the death of the mother, then absolutely third trimester abortions should be, should be allowed. Right?
Yeah, there's a place for everything.
Yeah.
If she's going to go down, yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with 36, which is exactly why abortions should be freely available as soon as possible, so you don't have to sit on for however long it takes for paperwork to go through, and the ages you... ages you out. Yeah. And I think that, I think that in New Zealand, having abortions be freely available is, with the morning after pill, it isn't abortive, it prevents implantation. Okay. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider. When it comes to abortion, like I think that abortion should be free and legal for everyone that needs it. Because, firstly, here's a little statistic, right? Now, I'm making this as a descriptive claim, not as a prescriptive claim, right? So poor people. What?
I know the difference.
Yeah, I'm just in case anyone wants to try and... I don't know if anyone's going to use this to try and use this as a gotcha, but this is a statement of fact. Poor people tend to have more children than rich people. Now, poor people... this means that poor people are generally in a worse financial situation to have kids, even though they have more kids. What I think is a good idea is to allow abortions, because there's a lot of ways. Allow abortions, especially for those poor people that maybe they couldn't in America, this might be a problem. In New Zealand, not so much. But maybe they couldn't afford to buy condoms or something, And so I think that, poor people should be allowed to get abortions, because they're definitely going to be in a worse area to have kids than a rich people, or than a rich person. And people tend not to have as many kids. This is a statement of fact that I don't think you can really disagree with.
Yeah, there was one woman that not too long ago that when she was told she wasn't allowed to have abortion, a little over a month in, she literally went and killed herself.
Yeah, I think that...
she made it known why.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to things like that, definitely allowing abortions is better,
Yeah.
And not to mention, when you're poor, there's a lot of stress, and so having sex is a great stress relief. Yeah. That is fair enough.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Maybe try masturbating, though.
I guess you could avoid pregnancy if the girlfriend actually wasn't technically a girl, but
if you're a guy, having sex with another guy, or if you're a girl having sex with another girl,
Either one won't result in a pregnancy.
Yeah. Oh, and the friendly antinatalist in chat made a good point. Not allowing abortions just mean people get it done illegally. And anyone can get abortion pills mailed to them in the US at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can avoid pregnancy by vasectomy. I actually...
But then you're not capable of having it later.
Yeah, I actually think that if I ever have a child, then I'll probably actually get a vasectomy, honestly. I only want one kid in all my life. Like,
Isn't that vasectomy for females?
No, I think hysterectomy is for females. I'm pretty sure vasectomy is for males. And Insider says the reason that people with lower economical status tend to live, the reason is that the people with lower economical status tend to live a riskier life, so lower chance to survive means, so more kids means bigger chance of continuing the bloodline. And the friendly antinatalist says, good idea, and gives some scissors.
Snip. Snip, snip. They're gone. Next.
Yeah.
Planarwalk volunteers.
Well, it is, as I said, like, as I said, like, if I have a kid, definitely getting, now I don't want a kid at this point. I do. Maybe on the table, like 10 years down the track, but whether I have a kid accidentally or whether I have a kid on purpose, I'm getting snipped. So yeah. And I don't think that... I do have to ask, though, and I don't know any... Like, if anyone in chat has had a vasectomy, does having a vasectomy impact your sex drive? Because I wouldn't know. And it sounds like it doesn't. Maybe a hysterectomy does, but I as I said, I don't know. Because if a vasectomy impacts your sex drive, then okay, that might be a bit of an issue. But as I said, I don't know.
I've got a couple of very tiny elastics here. We can test it out. You want to volunteer?
Not yet. It doesn't? Okay.
Snap.
Because if it did, if you have a kid, can if you have a kid, can you make sure it's born in Australia so it doesn't have a weird accent? It's not castration. Okay. That exists in the brain, not the balls. Okay. And I saw the space comma there, by the way, the friendly antinatalist. But yeah, like, because if it did, that would be kind of a catch-22, wouldn't it? Like, you get a vasectomy so that to avoid getting anyone pregnant, so that you can have sex as much as you want. But
why can you get it up afterwards?
Yeah, but
that's the question.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's not a catch-22. Glad that life can be simple.
Yeah. Yeah, snip, snip, you're almost a girl.
Almost. Space comma. Yeah. Anyway, what else do we disagree with? Or disagree on? Okay, here's actually... I'm going to go back to my hot takes that I had.
Probably disagree on music.
I don't think we disagree on music.
I like a lot of hard rock metal and...
Yeah, I don't think we disagree on music. Like, I've got a... Okay, sure. Okay, maybe if I get rid of this Beatles CD and put some Van Halen there, or put Or
I got Beatles on vinyl.
Or better yet, put Slipknot there, and then we'll... Oh yeah, STDs are still a thing when snipped. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I've got Typo Negative.
Okay, I haven't heard much of Typo Negative.
I'm surprised.
But yeah, I like all sorts of music. So generally my favorite type of music is video game music. Now, if because I disagree with anyone that says that lyrics have to be a thing. Like, a lot of people say that they can't get into music unless it has lyrics. But like,
I got a lot of instrumental stuff here.
Yeah, like music. Music is music. Like Benny Boy Shapiro, right? He, like, when it came to that song "Wet Ass Pussy," like, he ragged on the lyrics, right? Now, I don't like that song. Like, I listen to it. It's a shit song. In fact, the best version is the Grande version, where he basically took Ben Shapiro's voice and made "Wet Ass Pussy" out of it. Well, basically recreated "Wet Ass Pussy" out of it. It's not a good song. It's a pretty terrible song. But I say that due to just not liking it. It just doesn't do anything for me, you know? Now, if I listen to Megalovania, for example, like, that song is pretty good. You know, it has a... everyone know what Megalovania is? I'll put on...
Careful, them copyright strikes.
No, it doesn't have copyright strike on it. It's basically free domain. Hold up. I've got an ad. 210. Alright. Oh, what the Why is there ads? I thought this... Does Toby Fox monetize Megalovania?
Why is it?
So this is Megalovania. And
I gotta listen.
So yeah. Megalovania, that is... It's also got some pretty cool things, but, like, the reason why I like it is I like tunes which have... now if I turn my piano up... so I like tunes that kind of have a progression of... something like that, right? I like that kind of thing. Like, even one thing that I wrote a while back was used basically exactly the same kind of thing. Right? So that kind of progression of... I really like that. It's very... so the whole... Or... because it's a very simple sort of progression, right? I think it fits onto a blues scale, maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't know much of my scales. But it does have a, I can... It's very useful, right? And I catch myself slipping into it so many times.
Yeah.
I actually, did I use it? How did I Yep, I used it for that as well. For fuck's sakes. I used it for Belu's theme as well.
Yeah.
Belu's trial. I forgot that.
Analog versus digital.
Okay, so depends what you're attempting to do now. Analog mixing discs.
Playing music back, say turntable, CD player, cassettes, MP3s, 8 tracks, just your choice of media.
Okay, so
Mine is vinyl.
So for me, I do prefer digital when it comes to playing music back. The reason being is because of degradation. Like digital is less prone to degradation of. So if you've got music on a pen drive, for example, I've got music on a I have music on a hard drive, and I've got basically they're all in WAV format. So when it comes to that, you know, music in digital, sometimes there is a problem with storage space, right? But with analog, there is degradation. So I'd much rather something that doesn't degrade over time. Yeah, small SML's BST CBR says digital stays the same forever.
I find that the analog is far superior because you can actually tell the difference between a Zildjian and a Sabian. Most of the time, it's difficult, if not impossible, to tell what they're actually playing. Sabian is a symbol, Zildjian is a symbol. You can tell the instruments apart, what they're playing. You can tell if they've got good instruments. You can tell. You can just feel there's more feeling to the sound.
Okay,
because it's more precise.
Okay, so
it's more cool.
There is a reason why when it comes to things like vinyl, especially vinyl, why they do have sometimes better sounds on a vinyl record, and the reason being is because of the loudness war. Now, when it comes to vinyl, if you try and make everything just as loud as possible and you have clipping and shit, then when it comes to vinyl, essentially what you'll have is you'll have the needle jumping off the vinyl record, right? Because of all the whereas on a when it comes to digital, right, then you'll have you can basically have that without any worries, which is why vinyl is good in a sense of a mindset, but not in a sense of a storage medium. So when it comes to degradation with digital, yeah, degradation does occur in compression, but if you're not using compression, then you don't have to worry. You know, like if you're not using MP3, then you don't have to worry. If you're using something like well, I should say that if you're using something like I think it's FLAC, ALAC, or WAVE, I think those are basically uncompressed. So, yeah, name is Tankman in Chinese. Okay. So yeah, WAVE, ALAC, and FLAC I think are uncompressed formats. And now you can try and argue about bit depth.
Yeah.
But you can possibly try and you can argue with bit depth about bit depth, and I think some people say that even sample rate actually does play a. Tech Connections made a video about that. Let me see if I've seen that video, because I saw one video a while back.
Yeah, if you send the audio from a turntable through a differential signal analyzer, and you do the same thing with anything digital, it is much more plain to see that it's easy to keep up with the digital because it's a lot less complex signal, where if you try to do that with an analog signal, it is actually a challenge to actually analyze it properly. I don't care how big a computer you got.
Well, that depends on how you're trying to measure it. Like, so when it comes to signals, right? With a digital signal, it does have a simplicity in the fact that it'll be, how do I explain this? So, if you've got if the waveform is a sine wave, you won't have any. It'll be a perfect sine wave in digital.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect sine wave.
And
And that sine wave could have a carrier on it from the way that the brass is ringing, and that can be extremely complex sound, which could be in the megahertz.
Yeah, and in analog, like analog, you will get sort of noise from things like megahertz, from rather than just being in the kilohertz range, which is what we can hear. It will also have things from other things, which is why I actually think that.
No. I'm not talking about the total frequency is above what you can hear. I mean, like, the detail that digital cannot pick up.
Yeah, like there is.
It's missing detail.
I think that. I don't think that that's really. I'm not concerned about whether I can honestly hear the difference between two different types of symbols. Honestly.
Yeah.
So it says also, what sounds better? Digital source with digital amp, digital source with analog amp, analog source with digital amp, or analog source and analog amp.
All analog.
I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Here's the thing. Like, I can enjoy something whether it's digital or analog. In fact, I used an analog mixer for mixing something. Now, if I had more time, I probably would have been able to do better. But using digital in what was I using? Unfortunately, I lost the source file. So, using digital in Pro Tools, I got a good mix from it, and I was able to mix it just on my headphones. And to be fair, I did have a bit too much bass, but you get issues like that. And so when it comes, unfortunately, I lost the pen drive on it because I had put my pen drive in the pocket that had a hole in it. But I don't find any problem with digital. Now, as I said, there is a mindset that a lot of people have when mixing with digital, and that is to try and make everything as loud as possible, because you can't really do that on analog, right? And you know about the loudness war, surely?
Yeah, if you got enough power, you could. Actually, if you had a big enough system to actually carry that through, you could actually do a very, very heavy dynamic range and do it with serious loudness, but you need enough power in your system to do it. Now, the modern systems, they're kind of backing off a little bit on how much power the machine can produce, so they're compressing the sound so that the lighter equipment can take the volume and not be limited.
Well, if you're on vinyl, if you're using vinyl, then when it comes to, it's just a matter of the fact that vinyl, if you try to go full loudness war with it, you're going to have issues with skipping and stuff like that.
The vinyl, though, doesn't have to generate the loudness. It's your amp's job.
Well, no, do you know what the loudness war is?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, so the loudness war...
But you got to pick within the medium. Like, when you go within one medium, we'll say vinyl. Everyone's going to be doing their loudness war within the vinyl. So everyone's got the same medium. Now, if we flipped over to, say, CDs, it's a different ball game.
Yeah, like the loudness war on CDs is cancer. Like the idea about the loudness war, though, when it comes is not so much the amount of power in your system, but it's more of how things are mixed. Like you want to try. It's basically competing to make everything on a record louder than all the other records, because the brain often interprets things being loud as being good. And that's now, fortunately, I think Spotify has and Apple Music have sort of taken steps to put the loudness war to rest by going, okay, well, we will just make it so that all our audio is normalized to a particular range, so that whether you're listening to let's say Enter Sandman or Master of Puppets or Def Leppard,
but Pink Floyd, for example, is very dynamic in its volume throughout.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it does seem to be slightly flatter on CDs.
Yeah, like and that is something that I will admit that analog helped with. And when it comes to digital, like, because digital, you can basically just compress everything to the point where it's basically smacking against the roof. And
I think partly with the digital, you got the limitations of your DSP, so they want to get as much music as possible. So they'll push the average loudness so it's all kind of flattened out. That way they can take more advantage of the DSP, which is a very limited range it can go.
What's DSP again?
Digital signal processor.
Okay.
Yeah, is only so much that you can do. Like, it's only so wide of you can't see me. So wide of a range it can go. So they try to keep it within that range, and usually they try to keep near the top end. Because also by keeping the volume up, you keep the digital noise at the bottom to a minimal. You mask it.
Oh yeah. I remember about that. Like, because I remember like it was always we always were told, do not turn the gain up on your when it comes to your signal. But there would be ways to sort of get around that. Like, I do know that I think it's RX6 or something is really good for removing noise, like or reducing noise, should I say? Also, like Audacity, people will talk about Audacity as though it's a bad thing, but honestly, Audacity has some really good noise reduction in it.
I find if you know how to set your analog mixer, I don't care what you're bringing in, you can make it sound pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Now, I have Beethoven's Fifth both on CD and on turntable, and the difference between those two recordings is literally the difference between Flat Earth and Globe Earth. It's that far apart in my books.
But when it comes to one of the things you can't really do with digital, one of the things you can't really do with analog that you can. Maybe some people can do it with analog, but I have not seen it being done with analog, and I assume that would be very difficult. That you can do with digital is noise reduction.
Yes, you can.
You can?
They do that all the time. Most cassette players had it. DNR, Dolby noise reduction.
Oh, okay.
Dolby DNR, that's noise reduction for analog.
Okay.
And it works on turntables too.
Okay.
And it works on reel-to-reels. Anything that's analog, DNR is the analog noise reduction.
Okay. I might have to Google that. DNR noise.
Yeah.
What?
Dynamic noise reduction, DNR.
Okay. When I search DNR, it comes up with digital noise reduction.
Or try Dolby Laboratories. Dolby noise reduction. But dynamic. Yeah. Dolby noise.
There we go. Dolby noise reduction system.
Right. Use the brand. Yeah, we're using the brand name, so you'll find it easily.
Yeah, it comes up on Wikipedia. It was one of a series of noise reduction systems that was for use in analog audio tape recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it does help on turntable as well.
Okay.
If it's made correctly.
Yeah, one person says Dolby, not Dolby, because
Either way, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever way you want to pronounce it. Some people pronounce it wrong. I probably pronounce it wrong once in a while myself. I don't care.
One person says the only DNR I know is do not resuscitate. But yeah, when it comes to noise reduction,
that's free pork. That's free pork for your deep freeze.
Yeah, like I find that it's very like a lot of basically a lot of things in digital are a lot easier. Like I know that you can isolate things like isolating vocals. It's a lot easier on digital, and I suppose for some people they prefer to do things on analog because it's more of an art to them, but sometimes it's better to do things easily. And you know, if any part of the process uses digital, now to be fair, there are times when this may not be the case, like if you're doing certain things in analog and some in digital. But like if you just say you record in analog, then there's something you do in digital to the entire track, and then you go to analog. Anything done in analog before then doesn't really... there's not much that can really be done. There might be a few things, but it's, what I'm trying to point is there's not really a point to doing it in analog over digital, because if you're converting it to digital, unless there is something that you, like particular feel, I guess, like that you want, like let's say you're mixing using an analog thing, and then you convert it to digital, and you're only going to use it for some, and then you're going to put the digital on a vinyl record. I mean, the mixing could have been done on a digital system, but there might be some kind of feel that you naturally get from mixing on an analog system that you don't get from a digital. I know that there's a lot of people that prefer mixing on analog discs rather than digital discs.
Yeah, it's how I do it. All linear.
Whereas me, I don't care whether I'm mixing on analog discs or digital discs. You know, as long as I understand how to use it, you know, I'll use it. And for me, it doesn't, like I listen to pretty much all my music on digital. The only time that I ever listen on analog is when someone has an analog, some form of analog player, which is barely ever. And so, you know, I don't have a problem with digital. And I don't really notice the difference either. So yeah.
There is people that are what they call tone deaf.
Am I one of them then?
I don't know. I haven't had you here in front of my system to tell me what you think. That's hard to judge over the internet.
To be fair,
I don't know what kind of gear you may have been exposed to properly.
To be fair, now this is something that I'm probably going to have to turn off compression on. I'm probably going to have to turn off the compressor on my thing, but I can hear. There is something that I can hear the difference between, and I was surprised that I could hear the difference between it. Let me just bring up.
How is mine sounding?
This is sounding alright. So let me bring up that. Let me bring up OBS, and I'm just going to turn off compression on. Gonna go filters. All right. Gonna turn off. Oh wait, no, this is the wrong thing to turn off compression on. Let's go to desktop audio properties, no filters, and then I'm going to turn off compression. Right, and I want people to. I'm going to play a tune, right? And I want to see if people can tell the difference, because I certainly can, at least on my end, right? And this is all right. So here we go. I'm going to actually mute you, Glass Monster, so that... Okay, so that was the first one. Now, let me go over here, and there'll be a bit of sound beforehand. Will there? Hold on, let me make sure that my... Okay, here we go. Wait, wrong thing. Okay, I need to... Okay, loading. Takes a bit of time for it to come up. Because I can definitely tell the difference when it comes up. Why is it taking so long? Is it because I changed... Why is it taking 45? Oh, there we go. Now, I could tell the difference there. I don't know if anyone else can tell the difference. Let me turn the... and if... I'll play the first one again, the better one, so that you can try and see the difference, or hear the difference. Let me play it again. So, you know, it, like, this one sounds a lot more atmospheric when it comes to... but anyway, I see someone in the chat, Gregory Klinkner, who says, we don't need to wear masks because it makes it hard to breathe. There are lots of studies on this. It doesn't make it hard to breathe, though. Like, let me put on a mask. Ah, Glass Monster is still muted. Let me unmute you. There we go. So let me put on a mask. Here we go. I don't feel... It doesn't feel hard to breathe on this. Like, the only problem that I've ever had from wearing a mask is it's fogged up glasses. One time when I was cleaning an oven and I was wearing glasses just as protection against the particular chemicals that I was using. Yes, my mask fogged up my glasses, but the other option was having a... You know, what was the other option? The other option was happening what was it? coughing all the time because of the particular thing. It doesn't. So,
As far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely no reason why you can't wear a mask.
yeah,
There's no reason. Like, even several of my people that have very, very severe asthma wear the masks. And I mean severe asthma.
yeah. Like I've never had any problem with wearing a mask, and I don't know if he. Seems like he's trolling a little bit by saying, I didn't know that certain things. So he'll start wearing a mask now.
Yeah. Secondly, they actually can breathe better with the mask on because it keeps the materials from getting into the lungs so much.
Okay.
In fact, it's just the reverse. The breathing disorder, the mask actually helps the breathing disorder.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of people in...
Particulates bother the breathing.
Yeah, a lot of people in China, isn't it, wear masks? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's just part of their clothing,
Yeah, and
T-shirt, socks, underwear, pants, mask, jacket. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think they wear masks because in Beijing there's a lot of pollution, and so yeah,
it's getting better. It's getting better over there.
Yeah,
Despite what Trump said, it is getting better. Yeah, I brought up the big T word. Cheeto stain.
Yeah, but I think that I think that masks are good. I have no problem with masks.
Me neither. Makes it easier to rob a bank. You blend in with the crowd a little better.
Definitely.
It's the N95 bandits struck again. Well, everybody's wearing N95s. Yeah. Okay, dark hair, N95 mask, hoodie. Oh, okay, that destroyed everybody.
I do have to test out the M95 masks at some point because I haven't really worn them. I've just worn the surgical masks because surgical masks are way cheaper.
That's fine. They're fine unless you're like have someone right in your face sneezing at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and exactly. Here's the thing: if I ever feel sick, I'm gonna be wearing a mask. Like whether it be whether I've got a cold, whether I've got the flu. If I feel sick, I'm putting on a mask because bloody hell, like this year's been great. Like if I get to January, I think it is. No. February, or is it March? I'll have to work it out. But if I get to let's say February for now. If I get to then without ever having to without ever being sick, then that will be a year that I've gone without being sick. This year's been great because I've never I haven't gotten a cold this year. I haven't gotten a flu this year. And I think the reason is because we had a massive lockdown. We've had borders being closed. We've had, just all these things that stop the spread of coronavirus. And
can you see?
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah.
And what else does it do? It also stops the spread of it also stops the spread of other viruses. Maybe it's a good idea to wear masks to stop the spread of the flu, to stop the spread of the cold. It's helped me.
Yep, I can guarantee it would have.
So yeah, I think that Gregory, I think that he is trolling because he hasn't responded.
Yeah, last year by this time I would have had probably about 8-9 colds. I've had one.
Yeah, generally I've been getting 2 colds a year. But this year, 0.
But I get out working on machines, laying in the cold, and for some reason, I've had almost nothing to do with colds.
Hmm.
The only real change is everybody's more cautious with their masks and their hand sanitizers and all that. No, I'm not saying that in a bad way.
And one person says, I wear glasses. Fogging isn't an issue for me, but I'm pretty good at maintaining a seal above. Yeah, like if you have a seal, like I think it's the M95 masks are good for maintaining a seal. Surgical masks, not so much, because although when I first used a surgical mask, let's actually try this. Give me a small second, because I'd actually. Okay, let's see how long it takes for me to fog up my glasses. Okay, they fogged up pretty quickly. But
Should be 3-4 minutes, and it'll fog them up if your glasses are cold.
yeah, but I can still read the chat. Like SMLBSTR says, I got sick, very sick during the first weeks of the pandemic here. Not even the mask prevented me from catching whatever it was, but it certainly diminished the risk of me passing it to someone else. You know,
That's where the mask plays its part.
yeah.
Mostly. It is you passing it on. So if the other guy was smart enough to wear a mask, it's going to really reduce you getting it.
Yeah.
But you tell that to the COVID Karens.
Yeah, like, so BB says masks should only be for sick people. The hysteria has made everyone wear masks, which is ridiculous. But the problem isn't with mask wearing, with everyone wearing masks. The problem is that you don't know you are sick until you
Really come down. By then you...
Yeah, you're still contagious even when you're not sick, right?
Right.
Yeah, asymptomatic people are the real danger, because asymptomatic people, they are sick without knowing it, right? And they pass it on to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, my first round of it was asymptomatic. I didn't even know I had the thing.
Like, you go... I think for the first... I think the basic way of COVID is days 1, 2, and 3 after being exposed, you are not you're not infectious. But after day 3, you are infectious. Roughly to day 14, well, not. I think it's about 20 days later you lose infectivity. But you get on day 14 of after exposure. What the okay, BB, you can come on and I will debate you. Like, if you do know what an incubation period is.
Yes.
Like, an incubation period... No, it doesn't... Okay, so, I'm gonna, if BB comes on, I'm gonna kick you out so that I can, No, BB, you're wrong. So, when you are... An incubation period is when the virus is basically in your lungs. Now, breathing out will cause that virus to... come out of to basically be spread via particulates in your breath, right? So you might have some moisture which a virus will be in, and that can be spread onto other people. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, BB. Show the study. Like, I've got study on infectivity of study. Here we go. Google Scholar. First thing that comes up: study on infectivity of asymptomatic SARS-CoV-2 carriers. Okay, so here we go. Science Direct. Let's read. I'm going to copy this over to here. Where is it?
I would argue him too myself if I was on there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that when there's too many people trying to debate points, then it gets a bit too... anyway. So here we go. Abstract of this of the study. Background. An ongoing outbreak of coronavirus disease in 2019 has spread around the world. It is debatable whether asymptomatic COVID-19 virus carriers are contagious. We report here a case of the asymptomatic patient and present clinical characteristics of 455 contacts, which aims to study in the infectivity of asymptomatic carriers. Material methods. 405 contacts who were exposed to the asymptomatic COVID-19 virus carrier became the subjects of our research. They were divided into 3 groups: 35 patients, 196 family members, and 224 hospital staffs. We extracted their epidemiological information, clinical records, auxiliary examination results, and therapeutic schedules. Results. The median contact time for the patients were 4 days, and for that of family members were 5 days. Cardiovascular disease accounted for 25% among original diseases of patients. Apart from hospital staff, both patients and family members were isolated medically. During the quarantine, 7 patients plus 1 family member appeared new respiratory system symptoms where fever... Okay, this is interesting. All CT's images showed no signs of COVID-19 infections. No severe acute respiratory syndrome infections were detected. Okay. We conclude that the infectivity of some asymptomatic SARS-CoV-2 carriers might be weak. Okay. That is rather interesting, right? So, could be that that it's weak, right? But that's one study, right? So, we will look at...
data point 1 is not much of a data point.
Yeah. What's this one? But, to be fair, that was the... I will also bring up the chat so that I see... Oh, hello, Adam L. How's it going? Let's see. What's this one? Development of and clinical application of... Okay, this is not a good one. Okay, this is... what does the World Health Organization say about it? Transmission of COVID-19 by asymptomatic cases. Because you got to remember that collation of data is probably better than... Because this is technically one... Yeah, like this is... Okay, here's one of the problems with this one. It's one... so I can actually point out the problem. They literally said a case of an asymptomatic patient. Right. Okay, so global research on COVID-19 continues to be conducted now. Wait, let me bring this up. So here we go. Available evidence from contact tracing reported by countries suggests that asymptomatically infected individuals are much less likely to transmit the virus than those who develop symptoms. A subset of studies and data shared by some countries on detailed cluster investigations and contact tracings have reported that asymptomatically... Okay, yeah, that's what... Comprehensive studies on transmission from asymptomatic patients are difficult to conduct as they require testing of large population cohorts, and the more data are needed to better understand and quantify the transmitters. Okay. So it just seems that it's less likely, not that you're completely safe. Yeah. There was a particular study that I did see though. What's this ResearchGate one? Oh, this is the exact same one. Geez, why are we getting the exact same one? Like, it's just one. I keep on seeing the one with 455. It seems to be the main. Okay, here we go. Here's an interesting one. Okay. Here's something. It's from the CDC. Let me just switch over to chat. We researched the literature of PubMed articles that were published from 1st of January through to April 2nd, 2020 and pertain to pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic SARS-CoV-2 transmission. This search captured the literature... Oh! Hold up! Hold up! I just realized something.
Uh-oh. That's not good. Serious thing gonna happen here.
Okay. So, the other thing, this particular study here seems to be talking about pre-symptomatic, right? Which is different to asymptomatic.
Yes.
Yeah, so if we go to, like, here's one of the first studies that I see of pre-symptomatic SARS-CoV-2 infections and transmissions from a skilled nursing facility.
Yeah, my first round with it was asymptomatic.
Yeah. Yeah, so it says a severe acute infection can spread rapidly within skilled nursing facilities. After identification of a case of COVID-19 in a skilled nursing facility, we assessed transmission and evaluated the adequacy of symptom-based screening to identify infections in residents. Methods. We conducted 2 serial points prevalence surveys, 1 week apart, in which assenting residents of the facility underwent blah, 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 big words, including real-time reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction, viral culture, and sequencing. Symptoms that had been present during the preceding 14 days were recorded. Asymptomatic residents who tested positive were reassessed 7 days later. Residents with SARS-CoV-2 infection were categorized as symptomatic with typical symptoms, symptomatic with only atypical symptomatics, pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic. Results. 23 days after the first positive test was... okay, let's get to the conclusion. Rapid and widespread transmission of SARS-CoV-2 was demonstrated in the skilled nursing facility. More than half of residents with positive test results were asymptomatic at the time of testing. Hold up. Most likely... they just say most likely contributed to... Okay. I hate when they give something a... I hate when they give something a name and then... Okay. Is there... Infection control strategies focused solely on symptomatic residents were not sufficient to prevent transmission after SARS-CoV-2 introduction into this facility. Okay. So, you can't just be like, oh yeah, you're symptomatic, and then... This does mean, though, that... So, yeah, like, just looking at someone saying, oh, you're symptomatic, so therefore wear a mask is not a good way to control an outbreak. Because... Jose G says, being an auto-believer is worse than being an auto-hoaxer. Boom. No, it's not. Like, auto-hoaxing is bad. Like, being like, okay, this immediately is a hoax until someone can prove that it's real is not a good train of thought, because then you get into things where maybe you can't necessarily prove it, right? Or you can't necessarily prove that it's real yourself, because maybe... So, let's start with something like Sandy Hook, right? How do you prove that Sandy Hook wasn't a not red flag, a false shooting, right? When it comes to Sandy Hook, the way you can't really do that because it's something that has happened. You can't prove that it's not false flag. You know what you can do, though? You can prove that it was if you have all the receipts. If you have all the receipts, you can prove that Sandy Hook was a false flag. But no one has the receipts. Okay, so Sweden. Okay, so BB, come on here and debate me. Like I've got like 25 minutes left for you to debate you to debate me. So so firstly, what are you going on about? So you're saying Sweden has no masks or lockdown. So let's go to world. Let's go to coronavirus. You say Sweden is doing good, is it? Because Sweden, where is Sweden? Because people love to point to Sweden for some reason, but I mean, where is it on here? Control F. Okay, 38. Oh, not too bad. They've got 100. I mean, they've got 6,000 deaths. I can debate though. You know, Sweden has. I mean, Sweden has a. And Sweden has like huge is having a huge second wave, all right? Sweden is getting 5,000 new cases a day, or thousands of new cases a day. Like, I'm from New Zealand. Yeah, I'm from check the evidence. I'm from New Zealand. We have managed to squash COVID-19 a couple of times. PCR test is BS. What evidence do you have that the PCR test is bullshit? Like, come on here. I'll debate you. Its own founder said that it's not very effective. Well, I've actually seen. I'd have to go ahead and check what tests it was that I've heard have been pretty effective. Like, but like, yes, there can be false positives and false negatives in cases, but that's not because they didn't get hysterical. Listen to scientists without politics. I do listen to scientists without politics. That's the thing. Like when it comes to scientists, that's what I listen to. I just don't listen to the doctors that go, there's a lot of doctors that pretend like they've, you're from New Zealand, I thought you were Welsh.
There was that, quote, doctor that Thunderfoot debunked there that was denying the oxygen sensor. Yeah. Why he was breathing on every part of it but the sensor.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand. 25 deaths in New Zealand. We had massive lockdowns here. I mean, what other places have we got? I know someone brought up Japan, but I'm not sure. But I'm not. Okay, yeah, Japan. Japan has less. Did Japan lock down? Hold on, let me see. Did Japan lock down? Oh yeah, Japan had no lockdown. You want to know? So yeah, it says. Oh, this is 3rd of July though. But you want to know why they? Let me see if I can find something from Okay, what the data tells us about Japan's response. Signal continue. So it seems Japan. Okay, so Japan did have some lockdown requirements, but they weren't as massive as the UK and Germany. But one of the things that you've got to realize about Japan is Japan has a lot of history of mask wearing. So Japan is going to have less deaths than a place like Sweden, because people wear masks more often in Japan just due to the culture. Masks do work. Like, if you want to talk about Sweden, No, it wasn't mandatory. Please look at Sweden's death ratio. So, let's go over to Sweden. Yeah, Sweden has 6,000 deaths. If you want to, it doesn't actually give a percentage of the deaths, but we can calculate this.
Math.
Yeah, okay, let's go. 177, 355, 6, 1, 6, 4 divided by, and we get a 3% death rate out of all coronavirus cases in Sweden. So, you know, that's, I wouldn't want to catch. I wouldn't want to be in Sweden right now. I've got a birthday to attend to.
Yeah, you want to make it to it.
And he says, no, most Asian countries outside of China did not lock down. They use good tracing principles. I mean, but they also wore masks, right? Like, ignored the late deaths in Sweden again. I mean,
look at the shirt that's on your screen as advertised item.
What shirt is
that? Weird spot up above the black and white one.
Oh yeah, I see. That'd be interesting. Proves that masks alone work. There's been let me study on the efficacy of masks. Like this. Here's something from Nature. Here we go. Okay, yeah, looks. Okay, efficacy of masks and face coverings in controlling outward aerosol particle emissions from expiratory activities. Let's get to the conclusion, because, you know. Okay, it does give a bit of information here how they did it. So they basically were speaking into a microphone, had something to measure the amount of particulates, or amount of particles, right? And they tried different face coverings. Okay, they had breathing, talking, coughing, and jaw movement. Mask types and all that. Results. Let's get to the conclusion where they can actually draw something, when we can actually draw something. Although, okay, washed. This is okay, yeah. Okay, discussion. Okay, so our results clearly indicate that wearing surgical masks or unvented N95 respirators reduce the outward particle emission rates by 90% and 74% on average speaking and coughing, respectively, compared to wearing no masks. However, For the homemade cotton masks, the measured particle emission rate remains either unchanged or increased by as much as 400. Whoa, 5 times! Nearly 5 times compared to no
That
mask
don't make sense.
for all of the respiratory activities. For dual movement, particle emission rates for homemade paper and cloth masks were an order of magnitude larger than that of no masks. These observations... What?
That don't make sense. How can anything in front of you magnify it? That makes no sense.
That is... I think it might be...
That's almost a contradiction.
I think that it... Okay, I think that it might be just due to things like... that is very interesting how that happens. Might be more directed, maybe? Or it might be that things get caught in it, right? And those things that get caught, continue on. Or it's very, very interesting findings. Like I'd have to try and understand why.
Yeah.
Does anyone?
Let's see if we can get Thunderfoot to actually do that experiment. Because, yeah, that don't make sense.
Yeah. So, BB, deaths are lower in New Zealand. We locked down. Deaths are much lower in Japan than in Sweden. Japan didn't... I don't think they had a mandatory lockdown or anything, but they have a culture of wearing masks. Masks are effective. More people will die from lockdowns than COVID. I'll have to look at that article. Virus-linked hunger tied to 10,000 child deaths each month. Okay, so how many... Yeah, but this is actually... Here we've got actually a problem that... So one of the things when it comes to COVID, or when it comes to hunger-related deaths from COVID, or from lockdowns at least, is it seems that it's mostly happening in places like in third world countries, like Yemen, DRC, Zimbabwe, South Sudan, Afghanistan, Sudan. Oh, there's 2 Sudans. Ethiopia, Nigeria, Kenya. Yeah, these are African countries that didn't have a lot of food in the first place. Like this is something. This is something that they would still need food. They'd still have hunger problems anyway. It's just that lockdown in these countries, mind you, it's not in like and lockdown measures in places like America aren't going to like if we look at America, and UK maybe. I'll have to look into UK because UK has some pretty bad austerity. Japanese. Not only do Japanese people not shake hands or hug people or kiss between friends, Chinese people don't either. I actually have a Chinese friend who didn't hug. So didn't hug friends. So yeah, it was very, very interesting. But yeah. This is generally rather poor places, and like in New Zealand, I don't think we had any lockdown-related deaths. Maybe 1 or 2, but I didn't know of any. Like it's the reason why it's so bad in African countries is because those countries are poor, and. When you have a lockdown stopping people from getting food, for people that don't have a lot of food, you're stopping people from getting food. Stopping people that don't have a lot of food from getting food, yeah, it's going to cause death. So maybe in those countries, And mind you, just in those countries. Like, you can't extrapolate. You cannot extrapolate from African countries to places like America, to places like Canada, to places like New Zealand, to places like the UK or Europe, because these places are already poor. So your aggression is telling this is only been around for less than a year. Am I being aggressive? Like, I generally talk fast because apparently talking fast means you're right. Well, I try to talk fast when it comes to these things because there's so much nonsense. Honestly, like, there's so much nonsense that's being spewed that I try to talk as fast as I can to try and get all my thoughts out so that other people can talk. We're able to locate data regarding incubation period and contagion. Yes. This here, it wasn't very solid data, admittedly, but it does say infection control strategies focus solely on symptomatic residents were not sufficient to prevent transmission of SARS-CoV-2 introduction to the facility. So, you know, if you just go by infection, like, because this essentially means that if someone is contagious, or if someone is symptomatic, then using the logic that they're symptomatic, therefore they're contagious, does what do you mean hand wave dismissal? So yeah, essentially, if symptomatic control strategies were able to prevent transmission, then that would mean that symptomatic people were the only transmitters of the disease. Now, it does appear that from the data that I saw something. It does appear from the data that asymptomatic people do transmit less than symptomatic people. Which does make sense considering that things like cold and that are spread from often spread from symptoms. Now, okay, it's really focusing on death rate is really bad for COVID-19. Here's why. If you think that death rate is the only issue when it comes to COVID-19, then I'm sorry to tell you, but
They're wrong.
Yeah. Like, death rate, yeah, sure, death rate is bad. People dying is bad. But you can also, there is also the possibility of getting COVID-19 and then just not recovering. Planarwalk says, no, that's what Planarwalk is saying about starving people just to dismiss lockdowns. No, I'm not hand wave dismissing lockdowns. Or hand waving dismissing it. I'm saying that your data that you have given me, this here, is mostly in poor countries. Right? Like, this is focusing basically on poor countries.
Now, that said, anybody that's got a little bit of food in their fridge is going to be fine. You know, they can be locked down as long as they don't run out of food.
So he says many countries...
We do have Meals on Wheels, you know, for the people that are locked down.
He says many resulting deaths from lockdown in rich countries as well as cancers, heart, and other health issues. Then show me. Show the evidence. You know. And get lost, masks are garbage. You have no evidence that masks alone will stop the disease. I'm not saying that. So here's the thing. I don't think that masks alone will stop the disease. However, it will flatten the curve, right? Like, use a mask to flatten the curve. Use, like,
Right.
hand sanitizer. Like, here's the great thing. The people in... Hold on, BB, I think you're, like, way behind on this. So people on chats are aggressive in the rest of society. So, yeah, BB is way behind on this. He needs to catch up. Maybe play at 1.5 speed or something like that. Like, masks here's the thing. Masks do work, right? Because studies show that they work. Now, there are things that you can do that make them work less effective. But they do work for flattening the curve. It's not a case of, we think that masks will just destroy the coronavirus and no one will have to worry about it again. But using masks reduces the transmission from person to person. Like, masks is the most simple thing that's non-intrusive, right, that you can do. And wash your hands as well. Like, that should be a given. Like, one thing that I like about the coronavirus is that there's now, like, hand sanitizer outside of all places. So, like, I can just go in and, get some hand sanitizer, wash my hands, and boom.
I'm supposed to wash my hands after I changed Betty's adult diaper.
Yeah. Like, essentially, hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a strange comment, but yeah. Wash your masks and wear your hands. Yes, definitely. Yeah, if everyone wore a mask, then we would be able to eradicate. So here's the thing. If you reduce wearing a mask reduces the probability of you spreading it to another person by 90%. That's reducing the p-value from, I think it's about 3. I think the p-value or the r-value is 3. So if I just times that by 0.9, by 0.1 actually, then you reduce the r-value to 0.3. That would eradicate the virus. Now, even if we be charitable and say 0.25, so 3 times 0.25, then yes, R value of 0.75%. So that's drastic. Yeah, that would still eventually eradicate the virus. Just wear your masks.
Yep.
If China was honest, well, yeah, China should be honest about the thing. Like, honestly, like, there are many problems that led to this. Like, firstly, China should have been honest about the virus in the first place. Like, I don't think anyone doubts that. Second thing is, people need to be intelligent about it.
People being intelligent?
It's like, and here's the thing, right? When it comes... So, Lars Ann is saying, if you're interested in some discussions, please contact me. I'll grab the... I'll grab the thing. Like, you sent a... I think there's an @Gmail somewhere. If I go, I don't know what nope, not @Gmail, if I go contact, I don't have Instagram, sorry.
Makes two of us.
Yeah, responsible. Yeah, non-intelligent and responsible. So yeah. Yeah, like, if I'm sick, I'm gonna wear a mask because that reduces the Now, to be fair, if coronavirus was a thing in New Zealand, right? Like, if coronavirus was a thing in New Zealand that I had to be worried about, I'd wear a mask every time I went out. Because I don't know if I'm symptomatic. I don't know if I'm... like, well, I don't know if I have coronavirus. If I, oh, you've caught up now? Cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And
We don't know.
So yeah, essentially, when it comes to coronavirus, wear a mask, wash your hands. It's not overkill. It's just it's just putting something over your mouth. Why? How is that overkill? Like, do you want Grandma to die? I don't. I want her to get a letter from the Queen. Yeah, it's really... Justin Jewell puts it very nicely. It's no different than having to wear pants in public.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't know I was supposed to wear pants.
Yeah, you're supposed to wear pants in public. There's... Like, I don't do it because... Like, I don't do it because government tells me to, right? If I did shit just because government tells me to, or because government tells me not to, I would never have smoked weed, right? I've smoked weed, so I don't do shit just because government says that I should or shouldn't. I do it because it works. Doctors say that you should wear a mask, right? So that's, doctors say that wearing a mask prevents it. And I'm more likely to trust the opinions of doctors and people that actually do research, and to trust what the studies say. Where's the particular... here we go. And this study here, I'm more likely to trust than some person that says... than some random person. It's logical to do it. So you say people who die with COVID according to a faulty PCR test and lots of other conditions. Okay, what is the probability of a PCR test being faulty? Do you have the evidence that they are faulty? I'm going to go in like 5 minutes, so I'll have to look over this eventually. Like there's so much wrong with denying that COVID is a problem. Like firstly, I can admit that lockdowns would be bad in certain countries, right? But in America, and in places like America, lockdowns aren't bad. They'll control the spread of the virus. But if you don't, but at this point, honestly, you're not gonna PCR tests are 90% accurate. But then you got to also where did you post it? I don't see it. Adam L, you do have to consider that PCR tests, they may be 90% accurate. You've also got to consider the amount of false positives and false negatives. If it's so if it never gives a false positive, then alright, cool. You only get false negatives. But if it does give a false positive, you've got to consider that like if it's 90% accurate and 10% of all tests give a false positive, then it's not 10% of all positives that are a false positive, it's 10% of all tests that will result in a false positive. You test 1 million people and you have 100,000 cases out of nowhere. So I'd have to, but I'd also have to check the amount. What does a PCR test tell me? I can't remember exactly what the PCR test actually does. I'd have to look into. That's why they do a confirmation test. Okay. That that's that solves it, doesn't it? Like so essentially when you get a positive, like a false positive, you do a confirmation test, and then you you see, I do know about stats and how stats can be misleading. They don't. No, they don't. It's all rushed. Do you have any evidence? So Adrian Gardner says over 7 million people die of starvation this year. Why do we give a shit about COVID-19? We have much bigger fish to fry as the human race. Well, the reason why we give a shit about COVID-19 is because COVID-19, like, it's not good to have, like, another disease. Like, there are ways that we could try and solve hunger, right? But it's basically like saying, oh, why do you care about hunger? More people die from cancer. You know, like, you're like, why do we care about hunger? People are dying from cancer. We need to stop cancer. Yeah, but baby, everyone, why are we concerned about hunger? God damn it, we've got to worry about cancer because more people die from cancer. Yeah, and Justin Joel says, can wearing a mask stop hunger? Oh, people die of cancer. We should stop treating the flu. Yeah, like that. My point about the cancer comment, but by the way, in case people can't realize that I was being sarcastic, is we need to stop both cancer, COVID, or we need to stop hunger, cancer, and COVID. COVID has some simple solutions. Like, the simple solution is wear a goddamn mask, right? Now, that's not a catch-all solution. Like, now, in countries like New Zealand, where we did a lockdown and we closed our borders, we can manage quite well without doing lockdowns. It's just up to people to wear masks to prevent it from being contagious, and it's up to people, being responsible and getting tested if they get
symptoms.
Your symptoms. So BB is saying, well, Planarwalk, you can't stop cancer, but screening helps. Yeah, I know that we can't stop cancer, but screening helps. You don't need to tell me that, right?
That's the same thing.
But
you can't stop COVID, but screening for it helps.
Yeah, but have you heard of this idea called flatten the curve? If everyone's in hospital due to COVID-19, then people are also gonna die from cancer as well. Yeah, COVID is an enhancer. Who could live with the diseases? So there's so many issues. Massively reduced screening due to lockdowns, but it's better. It's better to have some reduced screening due to lockdowns than to have reduced screening due to people dying of COVID as well, Because everyone has to go to the hospital because... You're saying that... What?
Nothing.
Yeah. So I'm going to end in 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes is when I'm ending, definitely.
Yeah.
So
on your way out, you got to say your opinion on Trump versus Biden outcomes.
Okay. So BB says, going for elimination at massive cost to economy, health, and liberty. It's not really at the cost of health, because elimination does improve people's health. One of the good things about COVID, if you can call it a good thing, I prefer that COVID didn't happen, but it's still a good thing, is that we are now thinking about different ways to run society. And BB, you can always, if you want to set up a debate, join my Discord and you can come on, right? Okay?
Yeah, you can join both of our Discords. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, and I'll set up another debate in 2 weeks. We've got to make sure that healthcare systems don't get overrun, because COVID is pretty infectious, right? It's more infectious than the flu. And John Stafford says COVID was transferred by the animal markets. Yeah, that seems to be where it comes from. But the point is that COVID is rather infectious, and we need to work on measures to stop it. Wearing a mask is a simple measure to prevent the spread of COVID. It's a simple measure. Just wear a mask and you'll be able to prevent it. stop gathering in large numbers, you know, and you will be able to prevent it, you know. And BB says, yeah, like, females are never toxic. Did you not hear what I said earlier in the stream? Like, I said a hot take about that toxic femininity is a thing, right? I said that. Like, you've obviously not been listening to me. Anyway.
Calm down, Planer. Calm down. Take a breath through your mask. Calm down.
That was actually a bit. There's not so much that I was angry at the comment or anything. I found that hilarious because COVID does have higher deaths than seasonal.
Planer, I'm your father.
You say I'll debate you and crush anytime and crush you. Okay, 2 weeks. Let me bring up my calendar here. Okay, so for me,
we're off of this.
So, Sunday the 29th at what time? Sunday the 29th at, I think it's 8 p.m. UTC. So, join my okay, BB. Either email me or join my Discord. I can make sure I can set up a debate. If yeah, fuck 2 weeks. Do it now. Now I need to. I have a birthday to get to. Like really soon. So yeah, message me and I'll make sure. Find some way to message me. I'll get things set up. 2 weeks from now, we debate.
So leave the stream open. I'll debate them.
No, as I said, I've got to get.
No, it's your channel.
No. Now, when it comes to the whole, I do have to. Biden versus Trump. Biden. Yeah. Will definitely do better than Trump. Trump's an idiot, honestly.
Here comes the hate comments.
Yeah, like Ian Dib says, I'm very confused. Planarwalk openly invited BB like an hour ago, but it was had been a chat discussion instead. Yeah, like I don't mind debating people. You know, if you email me or join my Discord. Discord is probably the best way to contact me, and I'll debate you. Simple as that. Anyway, let me switch over to the outro, and we will end up the stream. Leave a like and subscribe if you liked that stream. Leave a like and subscribe if you're excited for BB to not show up in 2 weeks. Hopefully he does.
Smash that like button anyway.
And I will see you in the next stream. Between you and me, thank you for watching. Let me just find something. Here we go.
Is that it?
Almost.